All right, guys. So here we go. I've already got some of the jig heads in the oven warming up. I've also got heads in the oven warming up. Also got my mold ready. I changed this orientation earlier, and it still wants to do that to me. So, all right, there we go. All right, get the microphone all set up, get everything going. Like I said, I'm waiting on this to heat up. Now we're using the new um my goodness, using the new burner here. So I don't have my carton quite yet to dip out of there, so I'm just using these that I picked up from the dollar store. Just something I can use and throw away. And we're going to be powder coating most of these jigs in this white when we get to that point. And if you can hear, this this burner is a little bit louder than the old one. It makes a much louder humming noise. I'll move the microphone a bit. Maybe it won't stand out quite as bad. So yeah, we're waiting on temperatures of everything to come up. I see we have a few people in here. Part of what I was talking about, and it's in the um, video description there. Today is my 2 year sober little anniversary, if you will, and that's what got me started doing this whole thing on YouTube. Was just needing something to keep me busy whenever I had decided to give up drinking, and that was a huge battle for me. I didn't think it was something I could ever do. Give up drinking. I did it for a very long period of my life. Something that at the time I thought I really enjoyed doing, and like I say, as of today, I am 2 years sober, and I have no intentions of picking up an alcoholic drink ever again. Um, I do somewhat miss the idea of like hanging out with friends and stuff like that and having a drink, but I do know that I am not capable of simply having a drink. Hello, Fanny. I see that you typed hello there. Uh, Again, as always, y'all see me looking up there. I've got the big monitor up there so I can kind of see things a little bit better. Just waiting on this to heat up. But yeah, that's what got me into doing the whole thing with YouTube, was just something to stay busy. I started um last year was our first fishing tournament that we put on down in Dalkeith, Florida. We have another one coming up this year. It's our second annual, and a lot has changed in just that year with having a whole lot of affiliates on the channel, having a lot more interest in it, starting to do these lives when I'm making our our jigs. That's something else. I've, we've got these. Me and my brother working on this together. We've got this in like, I think right now we're in like 4 stores. least waiting to get into about 4 stores. So just trying to have a good time with it, and steadily, just like I said, just staying busy and doing our thing. Constantly working on our garage out here too. Um, I'd mentioned before, when me and my wife bought this place, this garage was not finished out. You could see, well, before I had the pegboard up and stuff, the insulation was all exposed. But I mean, it is a fully insulated garage. I'm just slowly getting together. Today I hung a ceiling fan and uh, got a new camera ordered yesterday. That'll be in before my next video that I do. We will have the new camera in. So some of the slag off of here, and we'll go ahead and we'll start powder coating some of these jigs because I know they're ready to go. Do a couple, and then I close the lid back down to try to get some of that heat back in there. It is a soft drink. We're almost there on this lead too, and I'm liking this pot here where I simply dip out of it a little bit better than the one that poured from the bottom. I sent that to my brother for him to pour his jig heads. He's going to try that one for a little while, but it kept dripping on me. And the more I looked into it, it seemed like those things do tend to drip a little bit. So I decided to pick up this style here that you just dip out of. And I tried it earlier today. I poured about 8 packs of jigs, and it worked out really well. So depending on what happens with him when he gets his mold in next week, see what he likes. We might end up both going to this, or we might just use 2 different styles. It all comes down to what you like the best. I like not getting burnt by dripping metal, especially when I'm sitting here and I got the camera going and everything. So having it to where I can just dip out of it is going to make things a whole lot easier. And once I get my actual ladle in, that's going to be a whole lot better too, other than this little spoon that I'm having to do right now. But it's going to work for the time being. I always like to show that's the white powder there. See if that'll you can see that I let it sit there and get cooled down too much, so the powder didn't take. Because I sit there and run my mouth with the lid open like that instead of closing it every time. Getting there on this lid. This system here does seem like it takes just a little bit longer to heat up. But again, going to be worth it in the end, not having to deal with that dripping, which I'm pretty sure a lot of it was self-inflicted. All right. Still waiting on that to come down a little bit. It's a fairly large chunk too. I've got a little over 5 pounds of lead in this thing, so that's part of it too. We're trying to heat up 5 pounds of lead instead of just a little small amount. Let those bake, and then I'll get the next set of jigs in there. They're over here on the wall. This is our smallest jig head that we are making right now. Come on. I actually turned this thing on quite a few minutes before I started the stream, thinking it would already be ready to go, but it's proven to take a little bit longer than I had originally thought. So this is something that whenever I started doing it, I'd never really messed with pouring the lead or doing the powder coat or anything either, and it's really kind of relaxing sitting out here in the shop and just making these jig heads. Pull one of these. That right there is the white after the powder melts. A little bit of a stringy section there, but those, once it dries, it pops right off. If there's any questions about any of this, I am more than happy to answer. We're almost there. No, I continue to say that, but a little bit of a learning curve for me too. I will turn this thing on a little bit sooner next time. Turn that thing down. So again, like I said, I don't have my actual ladle that is for doing this, so I just picked up some cheap little measuring spoons. Not quite. As that warms up, we will get to pouring these. So we got some new people that have jumped on here. Hello. Just waiting on lead to melt. And guys, again, I changed the orientation of this to where I could have turned my phone, but for some reason it didn't take. I was having some issues setting it up. So bear with me. I learn each time I do this. I know my mold is good. Heat it up now. Also have to get the spoon warmed up a little bit because that lead wants to stick to it if it's not up to temperature. Come on. That is one thing about the pot that pours from the bottom. It stays, the bottom part stays nice and hot, so it's able to pour out of there a little bit easier. Looks like my wife said hello. Hey, babe. I've got this one going up here, trying to keep a better view on it, and as usual, it's wanting to act up and not show me all of the whole screen. So this block is just about melted down. Trying to figure out a way I could get this thing out of here and kind of show y'all. I don't know if you can see that. Wife says the internet's acting strange in the house, acting off and on, which is probably why my big monitor up there, I'm not getting quite as good of a stream as I would want. So that right there is what I'm still waiting on to melt. If I can put that up there, get it out of the way a little bit so I can get to this stuff that is melted down on the bottom, and we'll get started. Waiting on the spoon to warm up a little bit so that the lead doesn't stick to it. Then it's just like that. Pour it in there and we'll let it cool down. Now, whether that poured good or not with me sitting here fighting this thing, I don't know, but I didn't want y'all sitting there watching me just do nothing the whole time. Let's see. All right. Yeah, that didn't pour so great. Afraid of that. So, what we'll do cut off our stuff that actually was right. We'll go again. Getting in too big of a hurry. So again, what I was talking about earlier is, now that I see there's quite a few people on here, today is 2 years since I've completely stopped drinking. I have not had a drink um, in 2 years, exact to the date. And with that, trying to just stay busy and find things to do is what got I got started talking about doing stuff on YouTube and kind of playing around with this idea. And then I did a small bass tournament down at a little fish camp in Dalkeith, Florida, Weewah Hitchcock area with the owner down there, Tim. It was his thing is Huckleberry's Adventures. He does charters and stuff like that. But we put the event together. It was a good event. I didn't know anything at the time. Didn't have any affiliates on the channel or anything like that. But we've decided that this year we're going to do it again in May 3rd. And this year I have affiliates on the channel. I like to keep their stuff up here. Monster Bass, I've talked about before. I actually bought into Monster Bass when they were doing their deal here recently, where you could actually take and buy in a part of Monster Bass. I took the time to do that, and I get their monthly box in every month and do reviews on that. That's the main thing I do on my channel, is I do outdoor fishing and stuff like that reviews. But then me and my brother got into doing these jigs. He works at this company, Blue Water, out in Port St. Joe, and a lot of guys were looking for these sweeper style jigs for sheephead, and I found the Erie jig. So it actually holds your bait up off the bottom. The weight is down, and we started making these, and I named them the Bo Peep jig for herding sheep. Thought that would be kind of clever. And so far, like I said, we've got them in like 4 stores, and I have them online for sale as well. So just another fun thing to do to stay busy. I come out here and work in my little workshop for these jigs and play around on YouTube. I think these have pretty well cooled down now, but that's your white powder coat hose. Once they're cooled down, that powder is completely dry and ready to go. So puts a really nice strong finish on these jigs. So the next set we're going to do will be these here. I'm going to throw them in the oven. We'll get the temperature up. The color that I'm doing today, the only color that I'm doing is the white on the powder coat. You do these in the chartreuse green, the blaze orange, and the chartreuse yellow. But I'm trying to do quite a few of these white ones. I got the white in kind of late for this last batch. I just dropped off another set of the jigs, and I didn't have the white in time to really do a lot of them. So that's what I'm going to make now, is primarily the white to get a good portion of those built up. I'm going to have to turn that temperature up on that thing to get this lead melted down. And the next time before I come out here, I'm going to turn this lead on a lot sooner. I'm new to using this particular device, this lead pot that you have to dip out of. It's a little bit slower than my other. And there you go. After I took and re-poured that one, it turned out just fine. And when this stuff comes out of here, that one didn't quite turn out. It's still pretty warm. So all you do, you can take and just cut that little bit of slag off, and it goes right back in the pot. Get melted down and go into the next set of jigs when you pour those. While we're waiting on those that we're going to powder coat to heat up, I'll go ahead and I'll pour another set of these. I apologize if that buzzing on this device is super loud in that microphone. Waiting on my next batch of mustad hooks to come in. And that'll be, like I've said before, that's going to be our go-to on our hooks that we use, because Mustad is also one of the channel affiliates. And if you go into the channel description, or even in the description for this video, I'll put it in all the video description, there's channel affiliate links in there. Right now, if you go back and look at the last video I did on pin and the Plano video, that code that I put out is good for the rest of the month of April. Get you a nice little discount if you go and use our code that they gave us. I'm hoping when I get the new camera in, it's going to have a nice enough picture that I can set it up and use the camera instead of using the phone every time. But we'll see. The last one I put on there, it you could just really catch the flickering of this fluorescent light and everything. I was not happy with it at all. All right, I think these are going to be up to temperature. And something I talk about every time is make sure you fluff your powder up real good. You want the jig head to be able to sink down into the powder easily, not have any real restriction. And then just knock off your excess powder too. That's something that I found really helps. I don't know about everybody on here, but something that me and my brother talked about is I make absolutely sure when we do these jigs, before they go into the pack, I make sure we clean off the eyelet. I have got jigs and lures from major brands, and you're all set, you're ready to go fishing, you go to tie it on, and the daggum eyelet is slapped full of powder coat, and you got to sit there and pick that off before you could tie it on. And there's nothing more frustrating than that. So that is definitely something I try to make sure we do every time. Yeah, we're good and melted now. And I know I'm using the same rod back and forth. I generally have to. Um, not 100% sure. And my straightening up earlier, I did something with my rod. I generally clean the top of that off with. So. And another little thing, this is powder, in the name powder coat. I always try to make sure I close the container up in between uses, because it will pull a lot of moisture out of the surrounding. So all right, there we go. That set turned out really good. So you can see there. So, and as I get them done, I've got another reason why I put up the pegboard. I put them up there, and I keep them all separated, so I'm not fighting it when it comes time to package all these up. And this is one of the cavities that got lead in it, but I didn't put a hook in there. I only did the 3. You can do 6 of these at a time. So if the lead spills over there in a cavity that doesn't have a hook, you still get a jig head out of it. It just plop it right back in there and let it go, and melt it back down. And I'm only doing 3 at a time right now because of my hooks that I've got. I don't have the smaller hooks. Like I said, I'm waiting on my next shipment. So we're only doing the 3 cavities, the 3 larger jig sizes right now. And I put the clamp on it. Again, I've talked about it before. I don't know that that's really necessary, but it's something that makes me feel like it's going to hold it together better. So boom, kind of heat up a little bit. If anybody's wondering, yes, all this stuff is extremely hot. Especially this silly little spoon, since I don't have my actual ladle yet. That thing is so thin it heats up just like that. So those look pretty good. We'll again turn the oven off. They're up to temperature. I'll let them slowly come back down, and then they'll go on the shelf, and we'll put another set in there. These are ready to go in. I had a question on the people that are in here watching. I'm trying to think of what the next set of molds I'm going to get, and I was thinking about getting either the football head type jig or something for a Ned rig. I'd like to have input on that as we go, to know what everybody thinks about those 2 styles. That's the 2 styles that I'm basically mostly leaning towards. I know we're going to get the round ball for doing like small panfish crappie jigs. That's a guarantee. We're going to get that. So the difference is on your Ned rig. Actually, I have from this month's Monster Bass box. Now they call these a mushroom head because it's not quite as flat as a lot of the jig heads for doing this are. But you can see that that's what everybody uses for when they're running something like a Ned rig. And then the football style jig, it actually literally just the head is sort of rounded, but it's oblonged on each end like a football. And then just the standard round um, ball shaped jig. We don't have any of those out here, but everybody's seen those. You run those for all your small panfish style setups. Got a decent bit of kind of nasty stuff at the top of this. But that's the good thing about this setup compared to the drip style that I was using before. Nothing gets clogged in this setup. So there's your nice shiny white jig head there. I'm gonna have to take and clean this rack and stuff off here probably before the next time I come out here to powder coat stuff. The rack's starting to get a little bit nasty, and that powder gets real sticky once it gets hot. But so far, I have managed not to drop one. And I'm running this little oven here at about 350 degrees. Like I said, I've seen all kinds of ways that people do this when they're powder coating their jigs. Um they'll take and use a heat gun, or they'll I've even seen, like I said, I watched somebody when I was setting up how to do this. They were heating their jigs up with candles. I'm a little too impatient for all that, so that's why I put them in the little toaster oven here, and I can do. I think the most I've had in there so far was about 10 that I can do all at the same time. Tell you what, I said I was only going to do the 3, but I'm gonna put a hook in that fourth cavity and see how that looks to me. It's the other joy of making these. I get to go out and experiment with them and enjoy using these things. that's all it is for pouring those. You know, once your once your lead gets up to temp, and like I've said before, keep your mold warm so that way it doesn't try to cure too fast before getting to the bottom of the mold. Get them all poured in the cavities, and you just kind of put that thing off to the side and let it dry. It takes 3, 4, 5 minutes or so to cure out. I've pulled it way faster than that before. Something, like I was talking about the 2 years being sober. I don't want anybody to think I was like a casual person who drank on the weekends. I was a flat out drunk for many, many years. I wasn't like down and out and living on the streets or nothing, but I didn't know what it was to just have a drink every now and then. So I am I am pretty excited about this 2 years being sober, and my wife and my daughter and my family have a lot to do with that. But this little project, messing around here on YouTube and selling the fishing lures and going out and testing different lures, and now starting this, it's been a huge help just to keep me occupied, keep me this is some of that nasty stuff off the top. Keep me busy. And I'm walking off the screen. I have a little pan back there behind me. I put all of this nasty slag off the top because it's still got good lead in it. I can work through and clean this stuff up a little at a time. But it does get in the way of pouring. Same as before, we'll let those sit there and come up to temp. I've got the one right here at the front on this side. I have to run a little bit more powder on them. We'll let that temperature come up. We'll take a look at these that I poured a second ago. That's your Bo Peep jig. And I'll tell you too, my being impatient cost me pretty good earlier today. I had been talking about this little solar generator project that I had been working on. I just about got it where I was gonna do the video showing me putting it together and all that good stuff. And I was running down to our local little hardware store to drop off some flyers about the bass tournament and check on our Bo Peep Jigs there in the store. And I totally forgot that I had the inverter with my camera batteries and the entire thing sitting up on the back of the car. And I pulled right out, and now somebody else owns my little homemade solar generator with a 2,000 watt inverter and everything in it. Because by the time I realized it wasn't on the back of the car, I turned around and come back and checked, and it was already gone. So that bit me in the butt pretty good, being impatient today. Sounded like one of the hooks wasn't quite sitting in there all the way. Let's see how that turns out. Figure it out. It's going to be a lot nicer when I actually get the ladle in for this thing. I wanted to get on here and make some of these jigs tonight, so I didn't really have time to wait for that to come in. How long have we been running? All right, yeah, we just hit the 1 hour mark. There we go. I dropped one. Like I said, it happens every single time. I will drop at least one. But there you go. That's your Bo Peep jig. I'm gonna put one more set in there. And like I said, we sell these in a pack of 4. So that's why I generally try to do 4 at a time. Turn that off. That's going to be our last set that we're going to pour tonight. go right there. And then, like I've said, you just take and cut this section off, and that's what your jig comes out looking like. And you can see a little worn, a lot of worn. That's how this thing sits up off the bottom and put your hook right there. Put our mold up and let it go ahead and start to cool down. Now we're just going to be doing this little bit of powder coating here. I melted my wife's crappie jigs, little panfish kit I brought out here to show in one of the earlier videos. That's your powder on there. Not quite up to temperature yet. Let this temperature get up a little bit higher on this, and we'll go ahead and we'll dip these next 4. There you go. Yeah, the powder took real good that time. Finally getting up to the proper temperature. I had some questions at the last year's tournament, and I'll open it up to people here watching too. Comment later. This will be on the regular channel. When you're doing a fishing tournament and you have both bass and panfish, do you consider crappie as a panfish or not? And that's something we're trying to think up right now for this next tournament. And we had people on both sides of the fence last time, and I'm sure there will be comments both sides of the fence here. I'm opening it up to communication with everybody that's going to be at the tournament and just everybody here that's watching. What do y'all think? crappie a sport fish or panfish? What's your thoughts on that? I will say what was funny about last year's tournament, we allowed crappie in the panfish side of the tournament, and the crappie didn't even end up winning the tournament because there was some crappie that got turned in, and it did not win the tournament. So I don't know that having crappie in the panfish side of the tournament gives anybody an unfair advantage. But I do like to hear what everybody has to say about it and keep it. The tournament is for everybody who shows up. I put it on with Tim to be able to do the events and everything like that. The tournament is for the people that are in it. They're the ones that every bit of the buy-in and any of the sponsor money that goes straight to payout. So and we do kids events, and this year I'm going to have the sponsors are chipping in. A lot of the channel sponsors are chipping in to give prizes for the youth that aren't going to be in the tournament. We're hoping to have a bunch of youth there that are going to be competing for a lot of the channel affiliates prizes that we'll have. See, again, if you wait too long and you don't get that temperature right, it will not take the powder. Tracy says that it is a panfish. All right, that's going to be our last set for the night. Hopefully, y'all have enjoyed watching me sit here and pour these things. I get a big kick out of it. I enjoy doing this stuff. It's really relaxing hanging out in the garage, just getting these jigs done, powder coating, messing around out here. Like I mentioned in my last video, I got my dog Pepper out here. She's laying up there at the front of the door. She loves it out here. So, y'all enjoy. There's definitely going to be plenty of more videos to come. I'm waiting on. I know that right now the Tight Lines tackle box is already in the mail. I've got the notification on that. So that'll probably be Thursday's review video will probably be the Tight Lines box. I imagine it'll be in by then. And we'll still have plenty of other stuff like, our affiliates, AFCO, Monster Bass, our MX Recovery guys. I use this stuff. I pulled something in my neck the other day, and I suffered through it the first day. Not even, I don't know, it just didn't register. I went ahead and I put that stuff on from Muscle MX, and it did a trick. It knocked it right out. Not to throw a commercial at you guys, but that's what the affiliates are there to help the channel out, and so I plug those guys every chance I can get. Akuma, they're sending stuff for the youth prizes, along with monster bass, flow grown. I'm gonna have stuff from all of the Pure Fishing, because we've got the entire Pure Fishing line as affiliates on the channel as well. So I'm gonna have some stuff from Pure Fishing right there for the youth events. And like I had mentioned earlier, go check out the channel description and go to the pin, and Abby Garcia and Plano, click on their links. If you look at my older video, that that code that we've got there, that'll get you some money off your gear right now until the end of April. I'll be doing another video with that stuff too. Put that code back out there for everybody. So, y'all enjoy it. Until the next one, just have a good time.